people you are. Oh, my kind of people so far. Oh, my kind of friend, please. Be my kind of people indeed.
So what is your role with Go Gen Go?
My official title is Executive Director.
Executive Director.
Yes.
Okay.
I wear a lot of hats.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yes. So I'm the only staff member. So really
Wow.
filling all of the roles of a foundation, from storage unit to being on a podcast or a television.
Answering all the questions.
Yeah.
And the requests. So it's you.
Yes.
And then who do you get to delegate to, if anyone?
So we have a board of directors. We
Okay.
have 10 individuals on our board, and our co-founder Joe is on the board. Jen's brother, brother-in-law, some really longtime friends of hers, and then we've gradually been adding to the board people that didn't know Jen, and really helping to expand our reach and just getting more individuals involved in Go Gen Go.
Nice. Now, did you know Jen?
I did get to meet Jen.
Okay.
I saw her probably 5 times before she passed.
Okay.
I met her in October of 2013, and instantly just gravitated towards her. She was such a dynamic woman, and I was in for whatever she was doing.
Yep.
I like all in, follow her to the ends of the earth to fulfill her legacy. And so I was grateful that I had that opportunity to meet her.
That's awesome. For those who don't know what Go Gen Go is and where it stemmed from, is there a brief version of the story that you can share?
Certainly. So Jen was very fortunate in the support that she received when she was diagnosed, and just an outpouring of meals and gift cards, and she saw others going through chemotherapy treatments that weren't in that situation, didn't have that much support, and so she actually took the gift cards that were given to her and passed them out to other individuals that were, I know, I have the chills, that were going through chemotherapy. And so that's really how it all began, with Jen seeing a need in others and fulfilling that need, and helping just provide some hope and support to others going through the same battle that she was going through.
Wow. Did she actually start the foundation, or did she come up with the idea and it was started after she passed?
She was here to start the organization.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
very cool.
So a foundation was started in 2009, and unfortunately she passed in 2014, February of 2014.
And the majority of your fundraising, is that through the runs and stuff that I've heard the most about?
That is our primary fundraiser, our Run Gen Run 5K, which we hold in March. And then we've started what we call Cheers Jen Cheers.
Love that. Which is actually what inspired our Ride Jen Ride. I went, love it, the play on words.
Yes, and if Jen would love it, she would.
I love
that. She was an Ironman athlete, and so anything activity wise, she would be all about it. And
now, when is that Cheers Jen Cheers? That's coming up, right?
So that is coming up, and what we've done this year is it's a tailgate takeaway. So you drive through, pick up your tailgate meal from Midwood Smokehouse, and if you're comfortable, you can come out and hang out with us. But for the most part, it's a drive-through, and that is on the 23rd of October is the pickup for that.
Very cool. And so how does that work as far as fundraising for you? Do they donate part of that back to you, or?
So we, the meal charge is $100, and of course, we have the cost of the meal itself, but over half of that funding is going to our grants for the foundation. And we have some other great partners that help us. We're the beneficiary of some events that we're grateful for. The Pink Cupcake Walk
I was
was
just going to
one.
ask you about that. Chills
Yes,
again.
I know.
So
and
how was that? Because I didn't get to go, but maybe next year.
Yes, next year.
Yeah,
I'm
for
hoping
sure.
for this to be a yearly event, but it was
And
amazing.
that was where the Charlotte Knights
It's
Stadium?
Truist Field.
Okay.
So the Charlotte Knights play there,
Okay.
and you were able to walk on, not on the field, but on the like practice
Okay.
area, and you did 4 loops.
Okay.
Grabbed a mini cupcake every time you passed by.
Nice.
Now that's
And
a good incentive.
I would walk for a cupcake.
Exactly.
Me too.
They were really good too. So it was 1 mile altogether, but it was amazing. We had almost 1,400 people register
amazing.
after expecting maybe 400.
Sure, because who knows?
And just the number of survivors and thrivers was, I think, almost 400
That's
individuals. And we had a moment where the survivors and thrivers walked themselves,
Okay.
just themselves, and either a family member or a friend could walk with them, but we had them go around on their own by the
Like a
number of
victory
years.
lap.
Oh, wow.
Number of years that they're surviving. And
Awesome.
so we had our metastatic breast cancer thrivers
Yep.
go first,
Yep.
and then just watching them go around was amazing.
Sure.
And just the power behind everyone being together after
Yeah.
being apart for so long.
Right.
It was really just well received. Just
Yeah.
so many people saying how grateful they were that something was happening,
Absolutely.
and they were able to come and enjoy that.
Yeah. Very cool. I
It
love
is.
that.
I know, this is like a great event.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Uplifting and energy and positivity.
Yes.
from-
Yes, and beautiful weather.
Oh, I know,
Just-
right? Isn't that great when that happens? Because in
Yes.
North Carolina, who knows? So with you were talking about the grants, where the money goes.
Right.
How does one go about getting a grant? Because we've had a couple of people ask us, like, how do you even do that? And I'm assuming you go online, and that's what I suggested. But how does it work for someone who is going through it, needs some financial help, learns of your organization? What's that process look like?
That is going onto our website.
Okay.
They can definitely go there, and we have an application right there. Fill it out. We try to get back in touch with people within 2 weeks. We say 3 weeks at most,
Sure.
because we do have times of the year where applications are really flowing,
Wow.
and especially during October,
Sure.
just with the awareness of everyone talking about breast cancer.
Yeah.
We get more applications now, but they fill out that application and we get in touch with them. Just really our only requirements are that they have a breast cancer diagnosis,
Mhm.
that they're in treatment, and that they have a financial need that is, a bill that's late, or they just can't afford to pay the utilities. They need help getting to their appointments,
So do
gas
they
in the
say where
car.
their need is, and then you try to fill it, or how does
They
that work?
do. They can
Okay.
put that they're needing housing assistance,
Okay.
like they can't afford their rent for the month.
Okay.
A lot of times individuals are unable to go to work because
Yeah.
they're in treatment. The doctor may recommend that they're, with their immune system being compromised,
Sure.
that they not be going to work based on, what type of job they have.
Yeah.
Or they're having to take short-term disability, and so they're receiving just 60% of their pay. So we're coming in to help bridge the gap between we're going to be able to pay our bills and we're going to not have food on the table.
Right.
So we're really just trying to help maintain their level of living
Okay.
as they're going through treatment.
Gotcha.
So like one less stress, hopefully, to have during such a traumatic time
Sure.
in their lives.
Yeah, that's
It's just-
amazing.
And how many would you say you have helped over the years?
Oh gosh. I would say, probably say like 1,500, probably over the course of
Wow.
all of the years. In the beginning, it was fewer survivors and thrivers getting funding, but we were giving out more. The amount was more.
Okay.
And so in thinking through how we could make the biggest impact, we opted to, and also the applications were coming
Sure.
in, more applications were coming in our name was getting out there and people were hearing about us. So we opted to spread out our funding to more individuals. So we're helping almost 45 patients per month
That's
right
wow.
now.
Yeah.
And it's a monthly stipend based on their length of treatment.
Okay.
So if they know they're going to be in chemotherapy for 6 months, we're going to give them a monthly amount for those 6 months.
Gotcha.
And if they determine that their treatment's going to be extended, they have to add radiation or
Yeah.
something else comes up, then they can always just reach out, say this has happened, and there's no question about us extending
Wow,
the
that's
support.
That is.
Yeah.
So we try to keep it very simple for them to apply and not a lot of red tape that they have to go through. We just want them to know we're here.
Yeah.
We understand what you're going through and we want to help. Like that's
amazing.
Yeah.
plain and simple. Just get the money to them so
Yeah.
they can
Do what they need
focus
to do.
on
Getting healthy.
focus on going to treatment
Yeah.
and going through that and being there for their family.
Sure.
There's just so many things that patients go through that this is one thing that Jen was very just she wanted to help in this way. There are other organizations that help with the research
Sure.
and getting mammograms, and we support them tremendously, and we feel that we're one aspect of supporting breast cancer patients. And so she really wanted to focus on helping with those household
Well,
bills.
and one aspect that I wasn't aware of that was out there
Yeah.
that helps with that part that people,
Mhm.
I don't think, it probably is out, but they're having probably financial challenges, but you just don't really think about it. But here's a great organization. It's like, no, we're going to fill that need.
Yeah.
We have all these other great organizations that are doing other things, but this is our unique way of helping.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That
I
is
love
awesome.
that.
Yeah.
I love it. Jody, who we interviewed, she was actually our first interview. She wasn't the first one that we aired, but she was the first survivor who we interviewed, has had it 3 times. This is her 3rd recurrence, and we asked her, because we had just partnered with you, I think, that morning that we interviewed her,
Okay.
and said, have you ever heard of Go Jen Go? And she said, actually, they talked to her about it, and I think they submitted an application on her behalf to get some help. So I don't know whatever happened with that, but hopefully it all worked out and lined up. But yeah, she's on her 3rd. First treatment was almost out of network. They caught it, switched hospitals, in network. Second one just assumed everything was fine. Everything was out of network.
Oh my goodness.
So I mean, we're talking a ridiculous financial burden. Now she's on her 3rd round. It's come back again. And, it's just a matter of how do you figure it all out? And there's financial aid and there's disability and she's still trying to work. She's a badass, I'll be honest.
She is.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how
She's
you do
amazing.
it. Because she's like, well, I'm not going to work just to get disability. That's ridiculous. She's a hairdresser. She can work. She's going to work. She's got kids. She's going to do the mom thing.
Yeah.
So she doesn't qualify for disability because she's unwilling to slow down to the ability that she can when she has those good days and, not when she has bad. But that somebody connected her with you guys and that maybe you're able to say, hey, let us help you with, I don't even know how you do it, this medication or this pill or this meal or whatever, I think for her and for women like her is huge. Because it is it's an unbelievable financial burden. I mean, sure, you can relate to, oh yeah, I had to take an ambulance to the hospital. It was $10,000. Okay, yes, absolutely. Take that times 100 for somebody who's going through something like this and doesn't have health insurance or doesn't have great health insurance.
Yeah, we were just kind of chatting on the way down about one thing that as we talked to more women who are going through it, for me was just not only the learning about the chemo and all of that to try to get, healed and back to 100%, but the financial.
Yeah.
And that adds the additional stress.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, it just adds stress in life in general.
Sure,
Right.
my finances stress me out, and I'm healthy.
Right.
Exactly.
And then add to just stuff you can't control. Like you
Right.
can't, you're not going to cut back on your chemo.
Right.
You know, you can cut back maybe on your grocery bill a little bit,
Sure.
but you're like, no, I need this treatment to live. I have to have this.
Sure.
And then it just piles on.
And that
It
causes
does.
stress, and the stress
Absolutely.
weakens your immune system.
Absolutely. It just,
Patients talk about getting letters in the mail, getting phone calls that are
Bill
threatening
collectors.
and very,
Yeah.
very stressful, and they don't deserve any of that at
No,
all.
no.
And so a lot of times we do have patients that don't have a lot of experience dealing with like and understanding you can call and tell your story.
Right.
So just giving them that information,
Mhm.
like don't accept everything that comes in the mail to
Right.
you.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
let's help get you on the phone.
Mhm.
You know, discuss what are the options. You know, payment plans,
Yeah.
whatnot,
Forbearance.
so that we can
Mhm.
help them cover that while they're
So do
going
you
through
help
treatment.
guide them through that, or do you have people that do? I mean, like we
I
talked about,
would-
you can't do everything.
I would love to get to that
Right.
level. I mean, I have a lot of ideas in my
Sure.
head that I want Go Django to get to.
Yeah.
But at this point, it's giving them the resources that I know of
Okay.
in our community
Sure.
that are already handling those types of things,
Yeah.
and then just letting them know that it's an option
Yeah.
to ask questions
Yes.
and ask for support and a payment plan and anything that they can possibly do to help you,
Mhm.
you know, spread it out over time, or if anything can be
Yeah. And then also let
wiped
them
out.
know that they're not alone in this walk of
Right.
not only the chemo and the treatment, but also the financial burden other patients are also experiencing. So, and this is what they've done. You're not alone.
Yeah.
Right.
Which, because sometimes, you can't help but get in your own world and be like, well, it's just me, and I don't know what I'm going to do. And
Mhm.
it's like, oh, okay, so other people have done this too, so I'm okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
And it's no reflection on them, like it's just you're going through a life event,
Right.
and this is what's happening to you.
Mhm.
And
I
this
agree
is how
completely.
you get through it.
Well, a lot of the women that have reached out about this series that we're doing with Candid Conversations, that's been
Mhm.
the resounding theme is, I'm so glad you're talking about this, or I'm so glad you're doing this event, or it's so great to not be alone.
Mm-hmm.
And not being in it, you go, well, of course you're not alone. Like, everyone knows someone with breast cancer, or you've got friends, or you've got family, but that doesn't matter. You can still feel really alone.
Right.
And to have an event where you can come and just have fun and be together and maybe do an ultrasound or a mammogram, or to be able to watch this
Mhm.
and hear other women's stories or about an organization like yours and go, that, yes, okay, maybe I feel just 5% better.
Right.
Well, they're talking about it too.
Huge.
All of the folks that we
Yeah.
had the honor to talk with were just like, we need to keep talking.
Yeah.
We need to get everybody aware. Yes, you have breast cancer awareness, but awareness of the treatment, awareness of the financial health, awareness of the counseling, awareness of what we had great conversations about. If you're a friend or family member,
Yeah.
and someone you dearly love has been diagnosed with it. I mean,
What do you
sometimes
do?
you're gonna, what do I say?
Yeah.
What
Right.
do I do? And so they were coaching,
Yeah.
and I think that's so important because there's times where something comes up and I just lock up and I'm like, well, what should I say?
Right. You don't
I don't
want to
know if I
say
should
wrong
say
thing.
anything, but yet you want to be supportive. So they were really helpful in telling us how you can be that person.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
A lot of times, you get so worried about saying the wrong thing, you
Mhm.
say
Sure.
nothing,
Of course.
and then
Well, that
then
makes
you feel
them
bad.
even more lonely.
Yeah, right,
They're
you
looking.
know?
Yeah,
You're
they're
at a
feeling
standstill
lonely.
instead of helping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
That was
Exactly.
a great conversation.
Yeah.
So
At the Pink Cupcake Walk, one of our past grantees from around 2017 was there, and she was overhearing a conversation of one of our most recent grantees who
Okay.
just a month out of her surgery, and she was like, oh, her story's a lot like mine,
Yeah.
and just that connection.
Mhm.
And she's like, Susan, you got to go hear this,
I love
And
that.
so just being able to connect with our grantees is amazing. Being able to see the impact that Jen is having
And we'll continue to have.
long past her
Sure.
her own battle. I feel very grateful to be here on her behalf,
That's awesome.
doing what she would be doing if she could.
Yeah.
absolutely.
For
That's
sure.
chills.
I know, right?
I know.
I mean, October is now known as the month of chills because literally that's
Yeah,
like all
it just-
day, every day.
But what a beautiful gift,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, definitely.
legacy and helping people.
how can people help you help these other people? So the run,
The run.
obviously, donating online,
Yes.
which we'll put the link at the bottom.
They can purchase a tailgate meal.
Okay.
Of course, it's
Yep.
our tailgate pickup is in the South Park area
Okay.
of Charlotte, so that is one thing. But we also have the opportunity where you could purchase a meal that would go to a grantee.
Oh, okay.
So
That's
if you're not around to enjoy Midwood Smokehouse, it's a really good meal. You could also donate one.
So I can donate a meal to a grantee, and then they get to come and get it. Oh, that's nice.
We get the meal
get
to
it to
them.
them. Okay.
That's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
And we do event volunteers, for the race. We do need volunteers.
Okay.
We have a race committee, so people could join us in helping develop the plan for the race. We'll be celebrating our 10th anniversary
that's
next year,
awesome.
so really excited about that.
Where is the race time?
The race is held at Symphony Park at South Park Mall.
Okay.
So
That's where we were. So it's the same place every year.
it is.
Okay,
Yes.
that's pretty awesome.
The very first one was at McAlpine Creek
Okay.
Park, and we've continued to grow each year. So we've branched out to Symphony Park, and we typically have over 1,000 participants there. And so, anyone that owns a business that wants to be involved in a great local organization supporting our community, they could be a sponsor of the event. Race teams, we'd love to have people, survivors and thrivers, join us. We have a special area for them where we try to pamper them as much as we can before an early morning 5K. And we do have a group called Speed for Need,
Okay.
which they help women and men and children who want to participate in our race but are physically unable to do so.
Okay.
So they push them in what we might be called a chariot.
Okay. Yeah.
And I actually, for our 2020 race, pushed one of our grantees with a group of women, helped me push her through the race, and that was just amazing to be there at the start and to all of us get through. She was singing while we were going along and just cheering, and it was just amazing. And getting across the finish line, I just started bawling.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that's awesome.
It's really amazing, and we're grateful for them to be able to help us have no issues with people being able to participate.
Yes.
People can come out even if they have just gone through a treatment, and we'll bundle them up with blankets and get them all cozy and on their way.
I love it. That's very cool.
That is.
Now, when we did it, so we had a friend who was going through breast cancer, and we all kind of did it as a group. We did like a team, and we all kind of got in. We did T-shirts, and we all went together. We didn't all finish together, but we all went together.
Yes.
And that was really cool too. So it could be an activity that you do with your friends.
We
and
could
kind
do
of,
a barn thing.
we should do a barn
Yes,
thing.
that would
for
be
sure.
amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we'd get.
Can we ride the horses again?
Well,
5K seems
yeah,
really
I know.
far.
I know. Chief would want to participate. He might want me to
Probably
walk
not.
with him.
All right.
But he can't. But anyways, yeah. I think that would be a great idea. So we could definitely do that. And tell us a little bit more about Jen. Something that she would want. Let's say she was sitting here with us now, which we know she is here, with her presence. What do you think? Like, share with us a little glimpse of what. I know you talked briefly about her in the beginning, but just kind of like, everybody has like little cool nuances.
Just to get to know her better.
Yeah.
I love that.
Oh, a lot of what I know about Jen is through one of her very good friends, Britt. And Britt likes to tell me that Jen would help her in training for events. So there was a time where they were riding bikes, and Jen was clipped in to her bike, and one of them fell over, and just the hilarity of them together. I wish I had been able to see all of the things that they did, but helping her with running, with biking, and just the spirit behind Jen. She was an Ironman athlete 2
Wow.
times over.
That's
So
incredible
she
in
was
itself.
just an amazing athlete. And to hear Britt talk about how she tried to help her along and just the things that happened and the bloody knees and she told me to keep running and
You're fine. Just keep
just
going.
keep going.
Dig your way down.
Yes,
Just go.
yes.
Put a little dirt on it. You know?
I can just imagine, the laughter and the fun and
Right.
the spirit behind their relationship. I know the closeness that they got to in a short time because Jen was diagnosed pretty quickly after they met, and they went through the 7 years together. And I'm grateful that Jen brought me to Britt because she's a dear friend, and all of the board, we're all in it together, and just whatever, it's always go Jen go.
I love that.
Love it.
Always.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, and Jenny, actually, when we talked to her, so your shirt just made me remember this. Jenny's another survivor that we talked to. Her story actually airs either next week or the last week. And she was in the middle of it, like in the thick of it, and coming out of an elevator, and someone was going into an elevator with the Go Jen Go. And for whatever reason, she stopped, turned around, did one of those, like, stop the elevator and went, what is that? That's my name.
Yeah.
And I need to Go Jen Go. Like, I need
Right.
whatever what is that? And the woman told her about what it is and who Jen was and I'm not sure even what the end of that story is. I'll have to watch the episode, I guess.
Yeah.
But it was just really cool that the logo triggered something in her, made her turn around, learn about this thing that was actually something to do with what she was going through. You know, I would recognize that because of the run in our association,
Right.
but to not have any clue what it was and just see the name and stop and learn about
Well,
you.
it's very, it grabs you.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, I need to go.
Yeah.
I need to keep moving. I don't know what Jen's up to, but I need to go find out.
Right.
You know?
Right.
What's Jen about, you know?
I
But
love it.
I do. I love it. And then I loved how you took it and said, ride, Jen, ride.
Right.
That
Well,
was really cool.
Yes.
it worked out because I had seen, the kind of play on the words with the drink, which I love.
Yeah.
And since we were doing the trail ride and wanting to partner with you,
Yeah.
we just had everybody that wanted to participate in the Ride Gen Ride make a donation. Now, granted, we had 2 rides. So the first ride was almost full by the time that we partnered with you. So then we had everybody in the PM ride make their donation. And next year, everybody will donate to ride. And then if you didn't ride, if you couldn't come or whatever, you could donate as well.
Yeah.
I'd love to know how much we actually raised. I don't know because we're not done. I just heard from one of our vendors was Yum Yum Crumbs, these little cakes in a cup. So yummy. And she told me a story at the event, which they normally do something in October where they donate to some sort of breast cancer charity through the business. That's what they want to do. And she had decided there was some business down on their block down the road that they were probably going to try to partner with that year. The day that I reached out to her and said, hey, do you want to do our event? Here's what we're doing. Told her about you guys. And so that's where she's like, well, I'm not going to do that then. I'll donate. She donated 25% of the sales at the event. And then she said, okay, so on top of that, we're going to do what we were going to do for October, and we're donating that to you. So I know that one should or has come in. And then we have one more corporate sponsorship. So we had a volunteer who works for a corporation that if she volunteers 8.5 hours, she submits a form to them and says, hey, I volunteered at this charity. Here's all the charity's information. And they go, cool, here's $500.
I love it.
So that's what we want for next year is we want more vendors that are going to donate to you. We want more corporate sponsors that have employees that can, work in that sort of program. Or if you're not involved at all, you're just an awesome company that wants us to give you a shout out. Throw money at GoJango.
Right.
And be part of this in that way. But that's our goal for next year. So when we get together, next month and we start planning this, because we plan this one in 3 weeks. Imagine what we can do with 11 months.
She's amazing.
I know.
Yeah, she's amazing.
I don't sleep. I'll sleep when I'm dead. But we're really we can get you some significant fun. $1,000, I'm sure you'll be able to do something with. But imagine what you could do with 5. How many women you could help with that? So that's the goal for next year. Is Ride Jan Ride and just throw money at you, and that way you can throw it at other women.
That's amazing.
And just,
Right.
you know.
Because you had just started talking about the event, like maybe the beginning of August. It was just kind of playing in your
Yeah.
mind. And then by mid-August, you're like, nope, we're doing it, and this is the date, or towards the end of August.
Right.
And I'm like, okay.
I was
here we
trying to
go.
keep up. Like every time you posted something, I was like, she's got more stuff going on.
I
This is
have-
She's
amazing.
amazing.
I have
She,
issues. Seriously, it's like I told Mark, my husband, I'm like, we're just gonna do like a little trail ride and the ultrasounds and maybe a couple of interviews for Candid Conversations, and he just looked at me and went, what?
He
I
knew
love that.
better.
He knew
He knew
Thank
better.
God he loves me, because he is all in. He did an ultrasound, which how many husbands are gonna be like, okay, I'll do that.
Right.
It's important to me. It's 1 to 2% of men. You're a guy. You could be that. You're doing it. And he went, all right. You know, what do I need to build? What do I need to do?
Yeah.
He did all the parking at the event. Interviewed people over there while he was doing it. I didn't even ask him to do that.
Yes. He
That's
is.
awesome.
Yeah.
You guys
Get
are
the-
a great team.
I gotta go back.
The even more candid conversation. Like,
Right,
you're
yes.
coming out of your car. Like,
Oh, and literally, he was
Yeah.
a stalker. He's like, hey, how are you? What's your name? What's your horse's name? What are you doing here? I'm like, God, I love you. Thanks. He's like, well, you can't be everywhere at once. I'm like, I'd like to be, but no,
I
can't."
know. So
Yeah.
I try.
Yeah, I do
but
try.
Not always
I
successful.
do try. It's kind of a mess.
The applications that are coming in most recently, so
Yeah.
many of them are reoccurrences.
Yeah.
And to be honest, the number of women in their 20s is just heartbreaking to
Really?
me.
Wow.
And they're going through egg preservation, and just it really is heartbreaking to see when you're that young
Right.
to be handed such a devastating diagnosis
Mhm.
and the decisions that you have to make, and you're not necessarily established in a career and have savings.
Mhm.
Some people don't have the family support.
Yep.
And so that part of my job is really difficult, but grateful for a grants committee that helps
Yeah.
me go through that process, and always just remember these are the women, and we've supported a few men as well. This is the why. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
can
we talk about that a lot. What's
I
your
can
why?
get through this, and it just ignites the fire in me
Mhm.
to raise more money, raise more awareness,
Yep.
and just keep going.
Yeah.
I won't stop until it's eradicated. So
Right. Yeah.
Hey, just one other question,
Yeah.
just to learn more about Jen, because
Yeah.
I mean, it's just fascinating. I mean, I just think that she was just a rocker.
Well, you know
I mean?
what? I'm going to interrupt you. She gave me a book, Jen's book.
Oh, I
And-
was going to ask if there was a
No,
book.
I have it. I'll give it to you. You read it.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
have another copy.
Yeah.
I'll-
Okay, but I was,
I did bring it.
yeah, that was what I was going to ask, is to learn more about her, and I knew there had to be something,
Sure.
but then a book, or
Yeah.
has anybody written anything about her, or whatever. So there you go.
Yeah, some
So-
more about that.
The book is called Extraordinary, and it is actually a compilation of her Caring Bridge messages that
Okay.
she wrote while she was
Oh,
going
wow.
through treatment.
Oh,
And so
wow.
her parents published this posthumous.
Yeah, you need to read that. I need to read that.
Wow. Well, and that's another thing too, that, maybe even at the next year's event,
Yeah.
we can have some books and people can.
We need
purchase
a whole
the books.
booth.
Yeah.
Yes,
People
yes.
purchase the book.
There's
so-
ideas.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
We're all
Lots of
getting
ideas.
together.
Right,
Yeah,
Creation.
right. And,
yes.
because that is, not only Go Gen Go, the legacy, but the book too, and the messaging
Yeah.
Mhm.
that you never know when you read something that could be written, 10 years ago
Yeah.
by somebody, and you're like,
Wow. Yeah.
She speaks rawly and
and
to the real, and you feel all of it.
Mhm.
Definitely with her writing, she was just awesome.
That's awesome. Obviously.
right.
I mean, obviously.
Right. And so inspiring too, because Jen was extraordinary, but it doesn't hold any one of us back from what is your legacy, like you talked about. What are you going to do now, and what are you going to leave behind?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, she poses that real question right in front of you.
Mhm.
What are you going to do?
Well, it's made me think.
Yeah.
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 I mean, this whole event has made me think. Obviously, I lost my mother. She was 40. And now we're in Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we're in the middle of a pandemic. And so I said to Mark the other day, I'm like, we need to update our wills. Like, we need to update our trust. Everything is out of date. And I reached out to the attorney, and there was time, took a little bit of time to get back. And so I reached out to a different attorney. He's like, what's the rush? Well, pandemic and this and this and this and this. It's like, okay, but like, you're not sick. No, but I want this done because you just never know. And I want everything established. I don't want there to be any unknowns for our farm. I don't want there to be any unknowns for my kids. I want to plan. I want to think ahead. I want to leave something behind. And quite frankly, I've worked my ass off to make this place what it is. I don't want it sold and turned into a housing development. I want to make sure it's safe for my barn family and my horses and my people and my kids. So it just gets you thinking, you know?
Definitely.
Well,
not sick right now, but
no, but that doesn't mean anything.
It's a gift to your family and to your kids and stuff, that they know what your wishes are.
Right.
Instead of having to guess, well, would mom want this? Would mom want that? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't want any of that.
Because you'd already be grieving.
Yeah.
So you're kind of going through that emotions, then trying to make critical decisions during that time. It's just...
Well, I've been on the other side.
Yes.
I've been the one having to deal with too young as when my mom died, but not too young when my dad died, to have to be on that side of it and try to have to figure out. I don't want anyone to have to wonder. Literally every single thing is now written down. And it's up to my attorney to make it official, but you know,
it's a peace of mind, not only for you but for your family.
Right.
It really is. It's a gift.
It's great that not only that Jen saw a need and filled it, because we've had that conversation a few times too, where there's like low income, you know, need, and there's a company filling that, and now there's this, and you guys are filling that. But not just that she filled it, that her legacy is continuing. My son, our middle son, is huge on legacy. We talked about, you know, you're not selling the farm stays in the family, whatever. And I thought about it the other day. I'm like, you guys don't need horses. You don't care. Honey, you can sell it and do whatever you want. And he said, absolutely not. This is your legacy. This is your thing. This is who you are and what you've built. We're keeping it going. And I went, okay. He doesn't even like horses. But to have him say that is huge. So for Jen to have this vision, see this need and go, no, here's where we can help. And then all of her friends and family going, and we're going to run with it. And we're going to make sure that need stays filled no matter what we have to do. Exactly. Cupcake runs and horse rides and drinking and, you know, barbecue. Let's do what we need to do. I love that.
We have sponsors that have been long time sponsors because they knew Jen and they're committed, and we're grateful to them, and looking of course for new partners to help us be able to extend our support outside of.
Is that on your
area.
website? So if a corporation is watching this and goes, well, I'll throw $1,000 your way every year, I can do that. Can they go to the website, or how do they reach out to you? What's the best way to do that?
They can connect with me. My contact information is on there, or there is the donation. You know, donation could come straight through the website, but contact me for like official partnership opportunities where they could have, you know, benefits at the race, like a booth at the race, or you know, different.
So for a corporate sponsor that signs on to do X amount per year or whatever, what are the benefits to that? So a booth at the race that promotes their business?
They can, be there and, you know, have giveaways for all of the participants, their information in our newsletter, logos go on shirts, and just different ways, social media, just getting their name out and their awareness for their organization, and, you know, with the benefit of helping support Go Jen Go.
I love that.
While they do.
Now, the vendors that you have at the run, for example, are those all sponsors, or can just any vendor buy a booth or booth space?
We consider everyone a sponsor. We have what we call the strength sponsorship. Is a $500 sponsorship where it's more of a vendor type aspect, but you know, we consider everybody a sponsor for the race.
Just if someone's watching and wants to promote their business, they could be a sponsor and have a booth at the run and promote who they are and what they do while supporting your cause.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
That's great.
That is
Just another opportunity. So, and they would reach out through the website as well. Okay. Great.
Definitely.
Awesome. I love it. I love that you're doing this. I love that we linked up. And,
I know.
you
It's so amazing.
It was perfect. And it honestly happened because we had one of our barn family members said, hey, I work for a company that will literally give a charity $500 if I volunteer, and I'm volunteering anyway. So is her scan a 501c3? And I said, they are not. Do you want to be a 501c3? I said, I do not. I'm not a charity. I'm a crazy horse lady. And I went, maybe for next year. I have so much on my plate. Not this year. And of course,
the wheels were turning. Because they
that lasted a minute.
About 30 seconds.
Or a second.
Right.
Maybe a second.
But we had done your run. And I remembered that. I went, surely they're a charity. And so I Googled it and looked you up and reached out. And then it all worked out. So not only could she donate, then other people could donate. And now we're doing this. And next year, everybody has to donate. So.
Well, and this also opens the door for, a very unique way of a partnership with the event that you had.
Sure.
That, people who would be interested in hosting events could reach out to you and say, hey, we're hosting an event. We would like to have you participate or whatever.
Yeah.
Just like Amy had done.
Yeah.
And that could be other avenues to generate more donations.
Definitely.
Well, bring more awareness to your need and how they can help you help other people. I mean, it's all about networking and connecting and filling that need and helping where it's needed.
Right.
Most definitely. And with us being pretty much focused in the South Park area, like helping us branch out and making sure all of the clinics that are on the north side of Charlotte know about us. And I will say that probably 60% of our applications come from nurse navigators and social workers.
Yeah.
So we do have individuals that are applying on the patient's behalf. And so we want to make sure that everyone that has a presence in front of a breast cancer patient knows about us and knows that we're a resource for them.
For sure. Well, like Jody was saying, she's up at Chapel Hill for all of her stuff. And it's her social worker that reached out to you on her behalf. So somebody up there knows about you. And
that's fantastic.
We need to get all the somebodies knowing about you.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us and share your story.
Thank you. This is amazing. I appreciate you both and for the event. I was so bummed that I was out of town.
Well, I didn't give anybody a lot of notice.
Next year.
Next year it is September 17th, 2022. We're already praying for good weather again.
Yes.
But that's the date. We've got her scan booked. We're doing the Ride Gen Ride again. We're already talking to vendors. And most importantly for me right now is the corporate sponsorship because I want to be able to really just help you help other people. I think that's so important.
Amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Awesome.